Tiffany didn't mean to start a war. She just wanted to breathe again. But when the devil in a tailored suit pulled her close and spun her beneath the chandeliers, Harry finally saw what he'd thrown away. And when Roberto raised his head and met Harry's eyes across the room, he smiled. That was the smile of a man who only danced before he destroyed. Before the drama hits, type your location below, and when it's done, drop your score from 0 to 10. Ready? Let's jump in. Tiffany Walters stepped into the upscale lounge wearing a deep red dress that clung to her like a second skin, armor against 2 months of heartbreak. Golden chandeliers cast warm light across polished marble, and the air hummed with laughter and clinking glasses. She'd come here to forget, to feel alive again. But the universe had crueler plans. Her breath caught. There, at the corner booth, sat Harry Nilsson. Her Harry. Except he wasn't hers anymore. Hadn't been since he walked out with her savings and her dignity, trading 5 years of devotion for someone younger, wealthier, shinier. He was laughing, carefree. His arm draped around a blonde woman who sparkled with diamonds Tiffany could never afford. The room tilted. She felt small again, invisible. The humiliation that had finally started to fade roared back with vengeance, wrapping around her throat like barbed wire. She turned toward the exit, vision blurring with tears she refused to let fall. "Leaving so soon?" The voice stopped her cold, smooth, deep, laced with an Italian accent that wrapped around each word like velvet and smoke. Tiffany looked up. A man stood before her. Tall, devastatingly handsome in a sharp black suit. Dark hair swept back. Intense eyes that seemed to see straight through her carefully constructed composure. Tattoos peeked above his collar, a dangerous edge beneath the polish. Roberto Zetici. Though she didn't know his name yet, he extended his hand, palm up. An offering, a lifeline. "One dance," he said softly. She hesitated, trembling, then placed her hand in his. As they stepped onto the dance floor, Harry's gaze found them. His smile died instantly, color draining from his face as recognition and fear flickered across his features. Roberto's hand settled at the small of her back, warm and commanding. The touch sent electricity racing up her spine, protective yet possessive, as though he'd been holding her this way for years rather than seconds. "Breathe," he murmured, pulling her closer as they began to move. His voice was dark honey, smooth and intoxicating. "You're trembling." "I shouldn't be here," Tiffany whispered, but her body betrayed her, melting into his lead. "And yet here you are." His lips curved into a knowing smile. "In a red dress that makes you impossible to ignore, dancing with a stranger while your past watches from the shadows." Her pulse hammered. "You saw him." "I saw you," Roberto corrected, his thumb tracing lazy circles against her spine. "I saw pain trying to masquerade as strength. I saw a woman who deserves far better than whatever fool made her feel small." Across the room, Harry's confusion twisted into anger. He leaned forward, jaw clenched, gripping his glass so hard Tiffany thought it might shatter. Then she noticed them, 3 men in tailored suits stationed strategically around the lounge, earpieces, watchful eyes that never strayed far from Roberto. Her stomach flipped. "Let him watch," Roberto said, as though reading her thoughts. His fingers tightened possessively at her waist. "Let him understand what he lost, what he threw away." "Who are you?" The question tumbled out before she could stop it. Roberto's smile deepened, dangerous and beautiful. "Someone who doesn't let go of what's mine." "I'm not—" "Not yet," he agreed, his gaze burning into hers. "But you will be." Before she could process his words, movement caught her eye. Harry was pushing away from the booth, stumbling slightly, drunk and jealous and reckless. The blonde tried to grab his arm, but he shook her off. He was coming. Tiffany's breath caught. I know. Roberto's expression didn't change, but something lethal flickered behind his eyes. The bodyguards shifted subtly, closing in. Harry arrived, swaying, fury radiating from every pore. Tiffany! The name was a demand, an accusation. Roberto stopped dancing but didn't release her. His arm remained locked around her waist as he turned to face Harry with the calm confidence of a predator who'd already won. The tension crackled like lightning about to strike. "Who the hell are you?" Harry's words slurred slightly, alcohol emboldening what little sense he had left. "Get your hands off my—" "Your what?" Roberto's voice was quiet, deadly. He stepped between Tiffany and Harry with fluid grace, creating a wall of protective authority. "She stopped being yours the moment you walked away, Harry Nilsson." Harry froze. "How do you know I know everything about you." Roberto adjusted his cufflinks with deliberate calm. "Including the $25,000 you siphoned from her account over 3 years. Small withdrawals, gambling debts, wasn't it? Hidden behind lies about investments and emergencies." The blood drained from Harry's face. Tiffany's world tilted. "What? He didn't tell you?" Roberto glanced back at her, something like regret softening his features before Steele returned. "Of course he didn't." That's not," Harry stammered, sweat beading on his forehead. His gaze darted between Roberto's calm expression and the bodyguards who'd moved closer. Recognition dawned slowly, then all at once. "Wait, you're Zetici." The name fell like a death sentence. "Roberto Zetici," Harry whispered, stumbling backward. "Oh, God." "Now you understand." Roberto's smile was razor-sharp. "The woman you discarded, the money you stole, the dignity you shattered, all witnessed by someone who doesn't forget debts. I'll pay her back. I swear I'll—" "You'll do nothing." Roberto's voice dropped to a lethal murmur. "You'll leave this establishment. You'll never contact her again. You'll pray I don't decide your theft warrants further. Attention." Harry's mouth opened, closed. Desperation flickered across his face. "You can't just— I'll call the police, Roberto laughed, a dark, humorless sound. "By all means. Explain to them why you're threatening a businessman in front of witnesses. While you're at it, explain where that $25,000 went." One of the bodyguards stepped forward, hand resting meaningfully on Harry's shoulder. "Time to go, sir." Harry looked at Tiffany one last time, pleading, pathetic. She stared back, numb with betrayal and something else. Something that felt dangerously like satisfaction. He was escorted out, stumbling between 2 suited men who handled him like garbage. Tiffany stood trembling. Not from fear, from vindication, from rage finally given permission to breathe. Roberto turned to her, his expression softening. "Are you all right?" She wasn't. But as his hand found hers again, warm and steady, she realized she would be. The private lounge was all leather and low lighting, tucked away from curious eyes. Roberto guided her to a velvet sofa, his hand never leaving the small of her back until she was seated. He signaled to someone unseen. Moments later, a crystal glass appeared, amber liquid catching the lamplight like liquid gold. Real crystal, not plastic. Not cheap wine from a bottle with a screw cap. "Drink," he said gently, settling beside her. Close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and intoxicating. Tiffany took a shaky sip. Warmth spread through her chest, steadying her trembling hands. "Why? Why what? Why help me?" The words came out raw, desperate. "You don't know me. I'm nobody. Just some broken woman at a bar." Roberto's jaw tightened. "You're not nobody. Then why? She turned to face him fully, tears threatening again. Men like you don't just... People don't just... Because someone should have. His voice was steel wrapped in velvet. I saw you walk in tonight. Saw the way you held yourself together like shattered glass, trying to remember how to be whole. That smile you wore, it didn't reach your eyes. Her breath caught. I've spent my life surrounded by people who smile while planning betrayals, Roberto continued, his gaze distant. I recognize that look. Pain pretending to be strength. He took everything, Tiffany whispered. The confession spilled out before she could stop it. 5 years. I gave him everything. My savings, my time, my heart. I believed in us, in him, and he just left. For someone shinier, someone who didn't remind him of bills and reality and... Her voice cracked. Roberto's hand covered hers. He was a fool. He made me feel worthless. Then he was a liar, too. Silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken truths. Tiffany studied Roberto's face, the sharp angles, the shadow of old scars beneath the polish. Power radiated from him like heat, but underneath... You're alone, too, she said softly. Aren't you? Something flickered in his eyes, surprise, maybe, or recognition. Power doesn't keep you warm at night, he admitted, thumb tracing circles on her palm. It protects you, commands respect, but it also isolates. People fear what they can't control. I'm not afraid of you. You should be. But I'm not. Roberto studied her for a long moment, then brought her hand to his lips. The kiss was feather-light, reverent. Then perhaps, he murmured against her skin, we were meant to find each other tonight. And for the first time in 2 months, Tiffany felt something other than pain. She felt alive. Let me take you home. Roberto's voice was gentle but firm, leaving no room for argument. Not a demand, an offering wrapped in protection. Tiffany hesitated. You don't have to... I know. He stood, extending his hand once more. But I will. The night air hit her face as they stepped outside, cool and sobering. A sleek black car waited at the curb, all tinted windows and polished chrome, the kind of vehicle that whispered wealth without shouting it. Roberto opened the door himself, waving off the driver who'd moved to assist. His hand settled at the small of her back again, steadying her as she slid into butter-soft leather seats. Principessa, he murmured under his breath. So quiet she almost missed it. Princess. The door closed with a soft click. Moments later, Roberto settled beside her, close enough that his warmth enveloped her like a shield. The car pulled smoothly into traffic, the city transforming into streams of golden light beyond the window. Tiffany watched the world blur past. Neon signs, couples laughing on street corners. Her reflection ghosted in the glass. Red dress, smudged makeup, eyes that had cried too many tears. 2 months ago, she'd imagined a future with Harry. White dress, promises, forever. Instead, she got empty bank accounts and lonelier nights than she'd ever known existed. Where do you live? Roberto's question pulled her back. She rattled off her address, a modest apartment in a neighborhood that never quite felt safe after dark. He said nothing, but his jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. The car's engine purred beneath them, a soothing rhythm. Exhaustion crashed over Tiffany in waves, adrenaline draining, leaving only bone-deep weariness. Her eyelids grew heavy. She didn't mean to lean against him, didn't plan to let her head rest on his shoulder. But Roberto shifted slightly, making space, his arm coming around her with careful tenderness. Sleep, he murmured, fingers brushing through her hair. I've got you. And she did. City lights streaked past like falling stars. The warmth of Roberto's body chased away the cold loneliness that had lived in her chest for months. His heartbeat thrummed steady beneath her ear, strong, certain, alive. For the first time since Harry left, Tiffany felt safe. Not captured, not claimed, just protected. The last thing she registered before sleep claimed her was Roberto's lips brushing against her temple, and 3 whispered words in Italian she didn't understand, but somehow felt in her soul. Sei mia adesso. You're mine now. Sunlight woke her gently, filtering through floor-to-ceiling windows that stretched impossibly high. Tiffany blinked, disoriented. This wasn't her cramped apartment with its water-stained ceiling and traffic noise. This was heaven carved from glass and marble. The penthouse sprawled around her, cream leather furniture, abstract art on pristine walls, the city spread below like a kingdom awaiting its ruler. Warm lighting gave everything a golden glow, softer than the harsh reality she'd known. She was still in her red dress, though someone had draped a cashmere blanket over her. The couch beneath her felt like clouds. You're awake. Roberto stood in the open kitchen, wearing dark slacks and a white dress shirt rolled to his elbows. No jacket, no pretense. Tattoos snaked up his forearms, intricate, beautiful, dangerous. He was cooking. You cook? The words came out stunned. I'm Italian. A smile tugged at his lips. It would be sacrilege not to. He gestured to the island. Come, sit. Tiffany moved on autopilot, sliding onto a leather bar stool. The smell of fresh coffee and something savory made her stomach twist with hunger she hadn't acknowledged. Roberto set a plate before her, eggs, perfectly golden. Toast with real butter, fresh fruit arranged like art. No servants? She asked quietly. Not here, not now. He poured coffee into delicate porcelain. Some moments deserve privacy. She took a bite. It melted on her tongue. Roberto, last night, what Harry said. The name Zetici. I've heard whispers, rumors. Her voice dropped. About what you really do. His expression didn't change. And? Is it true? The mafia ties? The danger? Roberto set down his cup slowly, deliberately. I don't hurt the innocent, Tiffany. I protect what's mine. I build empires. But I don't forgive those who do harm. His gaze held hers, unwavering. Does that frighten you? She should say yes. Should run. Any sane woman would. It should, she whispered instead. But it doesn't. Why? Because Harry hurt me for years, and no one stopped him. No one protected me. Tears pricked her eyes. You met me once, and destroyed him without blinking. You brought me to your home, made me breakfast, called me princess like I'm something precious. Roberto moved around the island, cupping her face with surprising gentleness. You are. I don't want to leave, she confessed, the words tumbling out raw and honest. I know I should. I know this is dangerous and insane and... Then stay. Just like that? Principessa, Roberto murmured, thumb brushing away a tear. I claimed you the moment you took my hand. The question isn't whether you'll stay. Then what is it? Whether you'll choose to be mine willingly, or if I'll have to convince you. Her heart thundered, and against all logic, all reason, all self-preservation. She leaned into his touch. Roberto studied her face for a long moment before stepping back. There's something you need to see. He retrieved a leather folder from the dining table, organized, methodical, prepared, as though he'd known she would ask, as though he'd been ready. Sit, he said gently, guiding her back to the bar stool. Tiffany's hands trembled as she opened the folder. Bank statements stared back at her. Transfers highlighted in yellow, dates, amounts, a pattern stretching back 3 years. $500 here, $200 there, $3,000 during their anniversary month. Her anniversary month. He was careful. Roberto's voice came from behind her, steady and low. Small enough amounts you wouldn't notice immediately. Spread out enough to seem like normal spending. He pointed to a specific entry. This one was the night he proposed. Took $2,000 while you were celebrating your future together. The folder blurred. Tears spilled hot and fast down Tiffany's cheeks. Not tears of weakness this time. Of release. Of validation for every moment she'd questioned herself, wondering if she'd been crazy or paranoid or ungrateful. She hadn't been. He'd stolen from her, literally, deliberately, while she'd believed in them. $25,347, Roberto said quietly. Documented, provable, yours. I trusted him, Tiffany whispered, voice breaking. I gave him access because I loved him. Because partners are supposed to... A sob cut off her words. Roberto's hand found her shoulder, warm and grounding. He said nothing, just let her shatter in the safety of his presence. When the tears finally slowed, he turned her to face him, thumbs wiping away the wetness with infinite care. Tell me what you want done to him, Roberto said, his tone even but edged with steel. Say it, and it's done. Money returned. Reputation destroyed. Bones broken. His eyes held hers. Your pain answered. Just say the word. Power. He was offering her power. The old Tiffany would have recoiled, would have begged him not to hurt anyone, would have made herself small and forgiving and convenient. But that Tiffany had died 2 months ago in an empty apartment with a note on the counter. She met Roberto's gaze steadily. I don't care about him anymore. Something flickered in his expression, surprise, perhaps, or respect. I just want peace, Tiffany continued, voice stronger now. I want my money back. I want to never think about Harry Nilsson again. I want... She paused, searching for truth. I want to stop feeling broken. Roberto's expression softened completely. He leaned forward, pressing his lips to her forehead, gentle, reverent, a promise sealed in tenderness. Then that, he murmured against her skin, is what you'll have. Peace, protection, everything stolen, returned. And you? She whispered. I come with the package, Principessa. His smile was devastating. Consider me a bonus. The folder lay forgotten on the counter. Evidence of betrayal no longer mattered when faced with the promise of something new. Roberto's thumb traced her jawline, tilting her face upward. You're trembling again. Not from fear, Tiffany breathed. Then what? Anticipation. His eyes darkened with something primal and tender all at once. Tell me to stop, and I will. Tell me you need time, and I'll wait. Tell me... She kissed him. It wasn't gentle, wasn't careful. It was months of grief and loneliness and rage poured into connection. She kissed him like drowning, and he was air, like burning, and he was rain. Roberto responded with controlled fire, hands framing her face as he deepened the kiss, claiming her mouth with devastating thoroughness. When he pulled back, they were both breathless. Bedroom, he murmured. Now. He lifted her effortlessly, carrying her through the penthouse to a room bathed in soft golden light. The bed was massive, covered in silk sheets that whispered luxury. Roberto set her down with reverence, standing back to look at her. Really look, like she was art he was trying to memorize. You're sure? His voice was rough. I'm choosing this, Tiffany said steadily. I'm choosing you, not because I'm broken, Not because I need saving. She reached for him, pulling him close. Because I want to feel alive again, and you make me feel everything. Something cracked in his expression. The armor, the control. He kissed her again, slower this time, hands finding the zipper of her dress. The red fabric pooled at her feet like shed skin. The woman who'd walked into that lounge last night, small, scared, shattered, died with it. Roberto's touch was fire and worship. He traced her scars, the invisible ones carved by Harry's cruelty, with fingers that promised to replace every hurt with pleasure, every doubt with certainty. Bellissima, he whispered against her collarbone. Beautiful. Tiffany arched into him, letting sensation drown thought. His hands mapped her body like territory to be claimed and protected. His lips followed, branding her with heat. When he finally laid her back on silk sheets, hovering above her, his expression was fierce. You're mine now, Roberto said, voice low and absolute. And I protect what's mine. I worship what's mine. I destroy anyone who threatens what's mine. She should be afraid of that intensity, that possessiveness. Instead, she pulled him down, wrapping herself around him. Then take what's yours, she whispered. And he did. Not with force, but with fire. Not with control, but with devotion. He undressed her pain with every touch, replaced her grief with gasps. Her loneliness with connection so intense it felt like rebirth. And Tiffany surrendered, not to weakness, to becoming. 3 days later, Harry appeared. Tiffany was stepping out of Roberto's building, dressed in clothes that actually fit, hair styled, confidence returning piece by piece, when she saw him. Waiting by the entrance, haggard, desperate. Her breath caught, old fear flickering. Then Roberto's hand found the small of her back, steady and grounding. He'd been right behind her, always watching, always protecting. Tiffany, please. Harry's voice cracked. I need to talk to you. Just 5 minutes. I can explain. No. Her voice was stronger than she expected. Harry's eyes widened, then narrowed when he noticed Roberto. You're still with him? Do you have any idea what he is? What he's capable of? Careful. Roberto's voice was silk over steel. He stepped forward, positioning himself slightly in front of Tiffany, not hiding her, shielding her. Choose your next words very carefully. I made mistakes. Harry's desperation pitched higher. But we had 5 years together. That has to mean something. You can't just throw that away for some... She was never yours. Roberto's words cut through the air like a blade. Harry froze. You had 5 years to treasure her, Roberto continued, each word precise and devastating. To protect her, to honor her. Instead, you stole from her, betrayed her, discarded her. He tilted his head slightly. And now you come crawling back because you've realized what you lost. I love her. You love what she gave you. Convenience, devotion, money. Roberto's smile was cold. But love? You don't know the meaning. Tiffany stepped forward, standing beside Roberto, equal, unafraid. I want you to leave, Harry, she said quietly, and never come back. Harry's face crumpled. Tiff, please. Her name, Roberto interrupted, voice dropping to a lethal whisper, is not yours to speak anymore. He moved closer, towering over Harry. One more step toward her, one more call, one more attempt to contact her in any way. He paused, letting the threat hang. And you disappear. Completely. Do you understand? The color drained from Harry's face. He stumbled backward, eyes darting between them. Tiffany standing tall, Roberto radiating quiet menace. This isn't over, Harry tried weakly. It is. Roberto's tone left no room for argument. Harry fled, actually ran. His shoulders hunched, his confidence shattered beyond repair. Tiffany exhaled slowly, the weight of 5 years lifting from her chest. Her past wasn't haunting her anymore. It was buried. Gone. Roberto turned to her, resting his forehead against hers. The gesture was intimate, grounding. "Are you afraid of me?" he asked softly. She thought about his darkness, his power, the danger that followed him like a shadow. "No," Tiffany answered, threading her fingers through his. "I'm afraid of losing you." Roberto's lips curved into a genuine smile, rare, beautiful, devastatingly real. "Then you have nothing to fear, Principessa." He kissed her gently. "Because I'm never letting you go." Were you hooked on Roberto and Tiffany's story? Drop your 0-10 rating below and let us know your thoughts. Hit subscribe and the bell so you won't miss what's coming next.